Welcome to the Creative Condition podcast with me, Ben Talon, illustrator and creativity coach, founder of the Creative Condition, artist and writer. I bring 20 years of creative industry experience and a lifelong love of creativity, a fundamental pillar of human happiness, to you through ongoing personal exploration and the shared experiences of others. You'll get a nourishing mix of creative industry professionals and people far and wide using creativity in ways that can take our learning to the next level so we can maximise our unique blend. The show's been supported from day one by Illustration X, a tremendous illustration agency representing a shining global roster of illustrators and animators over at illustrationx.com. The music for the show is by Dirty Freud, who you can listen to now on all good streaming services. And for everything else, for my coaching, resources and inspiration, head to thecreativecondition.com. Doing guys, and welcome back to another Brew Brain Dump. I join you here with a black decaf tea. It's 10 past 11 on a Wednesday morning at the time of recording, and I have things on my mind. Quick thank you to the founding sponsor of the show, Illustration X, mentioned there. At the very top of the show, they deserve a plug twice because they've been here since the very start of this podcast in 2015. They backed me to get it started. They've backed me all the way. You can't ask for more support in creativity than that, and they do a lot of great work for the broader creative industry around intellectual property. They've been fighting battles behind the scenes around AI and IP, which is really crucial to all of us. Do a lot of good work with the Society of Artists Agents and the Association of Illustrators. So check out their global roster of fantastic artists and animators represented across the world. So many awesome styles to get you what you need for your sexy visuals. illustrationx.com. And also, please consider supporting the Ukrainian Institute, a tremendous and important organisation supporting the Ukrainian creative community through this horrible time of war. If you want to share their work, if you want to commission them, if you want to do something else to help, then have a look at ui.org.ua. Right, let's get into it. We've got about 10 minutes for this Brew Brain Dump with my black decaf tea. Join me, get the kettle on, sit down, and we'll talk about flies in the insect matrix. I'm still here. Just have a moment, sit with that one for a minute. It's real life, you know. There is a fly's brain that has been put onto a chip, and it is doing fly things in the digital world, puking on its feet, rubbing them together, twitching, hopping about, looking for stuff to eat. That's real, you know. Somewhere, and I'm nicking this from the Guardian's article, but somewhere in Silicon Valley, there is a fly in the oh, my head's gone. In the insect matrix. Right, I'm going to put this in context for you. So it's been a real time of inner work for me in the last year or so, introspection, following a lot of anxiety. You're probably tired of me talking about it now if you're a regular to the show, but I'm making the point not just to talk about that, but to talk about as we move through life, we need our kind of belief systems or lack thereof to be something that we are fully invested in, that help guide us through life, so we can stay creative without sitting there worrying about death and all that, because that's something I've been through a lot recently. Death anxiety is a very real thing. And I'm not worried about, like what if I drop tomorrow or anything like that, but it's more the whole existential, what happens after I'm dead and all that kind of stuff. And it's had quite an effect on my creativity. It's kind of been a part of this anxiety which has left me in something of a survival mode, getting the minimums done. Now my minimums can be quite monstrous because I am effective when I'm under pressure. I'm good. I've been able to get by intellectually, no clients have been let down. I'm still producing work that I'm proud of, my clients are happy with, and so that's fine, but my emotional creativity has been relatively neglected because once I've got the minimums done, then I have to go and rest. I've been having to sort of wrestle with my inner demons to get through this period. Now, I look back at a time prior to this when I was writing a lot of speculative short fiction, flash fiction stories, and releasing a lot of books. Now, I have 8 books in total, 1 biography for Hector Ayuso, founder of Off Festival and Paradiso, 2 books on creativity, Champagne and Wax Crayons, Riding the Madness of the Creative Industries, my debut book, a memoir, a Watts and All memoir of turning creativity into a career. The Creative Condition, same name as this show, part of the ecosystem in which I'm exploring what it means to be human and to be creative. So it gets deep at times. And then I've got 5 fiction collections. I've got 1 novelette, and 4 flash fiction and short fiction anthologies. Now, this story sits outside all of those collections. This is just a short story I wrote and posted on the website. It's called Snake 2.0.0.0.0.0.0. ... I'm going to read you the story, right? And then I'm going to take you into this article, which is absolutely terrifying, that I came across during a conversation for a new radio show that I'm working on with Danny Allison, which I will share more information about that in due course, right? But here's my flash fiction piece. You have to bear in mind I wrote this and I thought it was silly, speculative, and just a leap of imagination. Turns out it's true. So here it is. It should terrify you to learn what became of Andrew Walmsley. After watching Tron from the musky shadows of his attic bedroom, the 15-year-old ambitiously attempted to create code so complex that he could disappear forever into a high-stakes neon game world. As the architect and god of a glitch-free paradise, he would be free of the laws of physics, shackling his sun-starved ankles to this spinning space shitstool. But the timing was not on his side. It was the year 2000, and as he went to press enter, his elbow caught the unwashed duvet underneath him, causing the tiniest of keyboard errors. The catastrophic mistake saw him confined to the painfully limited Snake 2 on his retro Nokia 3310 mobile phone handset until the sun burned out. Even when all life on Earth was obliterated after a collision with an asteroid, some 2 billion years after his unnatural life should have ended, the phone survived, and the battery lasted until, heartbreakingly for Andrew, who yearned the sweet release of death, it was kept at full charge by deep nebula electromagnetic fields. Finally, 4.34 billion years later, the phone melted upon direct contact with the sun, just before it burned out. His score was capped at the maximum of 3,000 when, after all bugs disappeared, he filled up the screen and his head was left banging against the tail for all but 2 hours of that time. I'm sure you'd agree that it was no small mercy that Joyce and Raymond Walmsley remained ignorant of their only son's twisted fate, spending the rest of their lives seeking closure, posting new missing posters, and occasionally convincing the town's police force to reopen their half-hearted investigations. So it's quite bleak, and I would consider that to be speculative science fiction, but it's not. It's now simply creative non-fiction. Okay, let's jump across to this Guardian article. Headline: A petri dish of human brain cells is currently playing Doom. Should we be worried? Yes, we should be fucking worried. Jeez. Right. Subheadline: Scientists in the US have uploaded a fruit fly to a computer simulation, while an Australian lab has taught neurons on a glass chip to play a 90s video game. How long before we are all living in a sci-fi movie? I'm not going to read you the entire article. Go and look it up on The Guardian. A source that I actually donate to, £4 a month, because I believe in good journalism with integrity in this post-fiction world. I trust them. That's what I'm saying. This is a real article. This is real. Right, you heard it. You heard that. How does that make you feel? It doesn't terrify me because I, through this period that I've mentioned, this period of anxiety and coming to accept my beliefs, what I've really clung to is presence and radical acceptance of my current moment. Not to judge, not to freak, not to get overly excited, but to accept and be curious and move forward accordingly. And it's been brilliant for my creativity. I've got such a zest back at the moment. And does it make you scared, or does it make you excited that you have the creative ability to go out and interpret this? You could call it maniacal time of the human existence. You could call it fucked up. You could call it splendid, magnificent magic. They'd all be accurate depending on your interpretation of current events. And that's where the power of individual interpretation and our use of creativity to tell a story of our current moment should illuminate us and make us thrilled. That's the place I've got back to from 3 years of utter terror about the environment, about war, about everything, because I was so knackered in early parenthood. But I'm coming to you today just to tell you that there's a fly in an insect matrix, and this is real life. What are you going to do with it creatively? I don't know just yet. it's certainly opened up my appetite for writing again. I'm going to have to address that in some way, shape or form. But it's also, today, it's caused me to jump on this microphone and talk to you guys. This is another creative outlet. We live at a time when we have all these amazing tools and technology at our fingertips. You can create whatever you want to create. Now, I'm ideologically opposed to AI from an environmental point of view. I've used ChatGPT about 7 times for individual queries. I jump through hoops to avoid Google's automatic AI overview. I think it's disgusting, personally, the resources used for bullshit that people use it for. Now, there is an awesome use of AI. There's a place for it in the world. Look at science. Look at the great things it's doing. But it shouldn't be available on the phones of Tom, Dick and Harry. Anyway, going off the point. But we have all these tools. We can make, we can create, we can smash things together. We can be speculative. We can take leaps of imagination, which is getting harder because reality is so ridiculously bonkers. But for me, I'm learning to love that again, using my creativity to tackle these things and to make sense of them and to process them and to make my life something that is interesting to live, that is joyful at times to live, that is scary at times to live. But I have this outlet, this creativity. What are you doing with the knowledge that there's a fruit fly knocking about in the insect matrix, and that there's a human brain somewhere playing Doom on loop? I started to write about that. What if I got stuck in Final Fantasy VII? Would it be as good as I imagine? I don't know. What if I ended up in Treasure Island Dizzy on the Commodore, or Crash Bandicoot getting my head knocked in for eternity? It's kind of a scary and also an exciting thought on it. And it's definitely triggered my brain down the path of simulation theory. I could go on all day, but this has been a 10-minute brew brain dump. Last swig of the decaf black tea. Let me know your thoughts. Ben@bentalon.com, or message me on LinkedIn. Have a good one, guys. And check out this week's episode with Rich Wiggins and Simon Wright, founders of All Flows, and Pooleyville, talking about Milton Keynes and personality in a place and the need for local in-person connection. Really great. Go and have a look. Leave us a little review, a rating, subscription. It's all valuable. Please do consider doing that. It helps me build the show. Nice one, guys. Chat soon.